Greetings of the day to all of you. We have started already in our previous lecture what is meant by report writing. So the report writing is nothing but it is one kind of written form of communication, okay, through which we are going to give the information about any one of the facts, about any one of the event, and how it is considered as one of the important kind of channel of communication, or why the reports are considered as the backbone of any one of the company. And at the same time, how the success of any one of the company, it depends on whatever kinds of reports we are preparing. Okay. Then we also discussed that here the various kinds of reports are written by the administrators, scientists, engineers, business executives. How these kinds of reports are used as a one kind of proof. Okay, how these kinds of reports which are also considered as a one kind of evidence. Okay. So related with the report, we also discussed about what are the thoughts of Reynolds related with the report. So according to him, a formal report presents in an organized form the information that has been requested by an authorized person. Okay, and we have also discussed about that whenever we want to take one kind of decision, whenever we also want to give our own suggestions related with the report, then this kind of report writing is going to play a very significant role to us. Then what is the importance of any one of the reports? How that kind of information can be also very useful to us to do the one kind of investigation or to do one kind of research. And how here in any one of the company, how the scientific data, how the sales manager, they are trying to take the monthly, weekly report in various kinds of corporate offices. And then we have started a very important part of the report. So that was nothing but one kind of structure whenever we are going to prepare what kind of reports. So while preparing a report, what can be the exact structure that we are going to follow here, and why here we want to do a careful kind of planning related with the reports. We know that in the structure of the report there are the sections, there are the headings. Okay, so that's why whenever we are going to prepare the report, so while preparing report, it can be the report of our graduation level, of our post-graduation level, or it can be the report or the thesis writing of any one of the MPhil or PhD. Okay. So then we have started already. What are the important kinds of parts of report? So related with the important parts of the report, we have discussed that we have the front matter. Okay. Like the front matter, we have also the back matter whenever we are going to write the report. Okay, we have also the main body of the letter. Okay, so this kind of main body of our report can be play a very significant role. And I think we have started the point number 4. And what are the important points that are exactly included in the front matter of our book report? So whenever we are going to write any one kind of report, so in that report, we found that the first page is the mandatory. First page is the compulsory. So we can call to this page as a one kind of title page. Okay, and on the title page of our report, here already we found that title of the report, the name of the person or the writer who has written that report, and at the same time the name of the organization or the name of the company where you are going to submit your report. Okay. Then at the same time, name of the report writer will come and the date will come. So how should be the title of our report? So already we have discussed that whenever we are going to discuss or whenever we are going to decide especially the topic for our report, so our title should be present towards the hidden idea. Title should present to us one kind of theme or the keyword about our topic, the topic which we are going to select. Okay, so selection of our title of our book report or the selection of the topic is going to play a very significant role. And very important point that we have discussed also in our previous lecture that whenever our report is of only the 3 pages, when our report is a short, so at that time it doesn't need a full title. At that time it doesn't need a full title page, but only we need the title. That's it. Okay. So then we have discussed the second very important point whenever we want to write a report. So that second point was nothing but it was a one kind of preface. So the preface, it was considered as one of the optional element of our report. So whenever we are going to write a one kind of report, so while writing a one kind of report, the preface is very important. This preface is also considered as the optional element. Pre means before, face, which is trying to tell us the preface of any one of the book, the preface of any one of the project that we are going to write. So whenever we are going to write any one of the book, so while writing any one of the book, here we found that the preface is going to play a very significant role. So this preface is trying to convey to us the what is exactly given in that book. Okay, what are the important points that are written in that book? What is the content? How is the structure of that book? So all the points which are presented in that kind of report or at the same time in that book. So what are the various kinds of features and what is the one kind of scope of that book? Okay. Then we also discussed about that whenever we are going to write one kind of report. So while writing one kind of report also, here we are going to also add one kind of covering letters. So when we are going to add the covering letters, whenever the writer of any one of the book he is writing his report, and whenever he wants to mention the various kinds of causes or what is the purpose of writing that kind of report. So whenever this kind of writer he wants to convey that kind of purpose, okay. So at that time here, the writer he is trying to exactly add the cover letter in that book report, and that kind of cover letter it should clearly define to us the objective and the scope of our report. And whenever we are going to write our report, so we want to take the prints out of our report on the particular kind of letterhead of that company or the particular kind of letterhead of that organization. And whenever we are going to close the covering letter, so we want to keep it in mind that we are going to close our covering letter with a courteous kind of message. Okay, so this kind of courteous kind of message is going to play a very significant role. So that's why letter of the transmittal it is also going to play a very important role. Then we have discussed about that whenever we are going to write one kind of report. So while writing the report, we want to take the help of so many people. So it can be any one of the expertise, can be the expert in that area. So we need to take the help of any one of the experts, okay, any one of the manager from reputed company. So whenever we are going to take a one kind of help, so from anyone, so while taking that kind of help, here in our acknowledgement, what exactly we are going to do? Acknowledgement is nothing but it is one of the medium or the channel through which we are conveying our gratitude, we are conveying our respect, we are conveying our regard to those persons who have helped us uh, writing our thesis writing. It can be in related with getting the information. Okay, it can be related with collecting the various kinds of references. And whenever we are also going to discuss with distinguished persons the information related with our topic, the topic which we have exactly selected for our report writing. Okay, so the acknowledgement is considered as one of the important point where which we want to add in our book report. So whenever we are going to add our acknowledgement in our book report, so at that time we want to take care about that. It should be only within a one paragraph or only two short paragraphs which we are going to add in our book report. Okay, so then we have discussed the next point in our book report. That was the table of the content. So as we have discussed earlier in our previous lecture that whenever you will complete your book report, whenever you will complete your thesis, and whenever that thesis will be evaluated by the expert. So whenever that expert is trying to do one kind of evaluation about your thesis, about your book report, so at that time, what exactly he is trying to do, as I said earlier, first of all, he will try to read the introductory part, the introductory part of our book report. What exactly you have written in all the chapters of your book report. So he is trying to see the introductory part of your book report. What exactly you have written in your introductory part. Then later on, he is going to check the table of the content. So our table of the content will be nothing but in which we are going to write our all the chapters. For example, if we have written our book report on the topic on the internet, so in that exactly topic, our chapter scheme will be like that: introduction, in the history of internet, what are the advantages of the internet, what are the disadvantages of the internet, and at the same time, what are the limitations and what is your conclusion. Okay, so whatever major points are there in our book report, so these major points are nothing but it is considered as one of the table of the content. So that kind of expert here or the evaluator, first of all, he will go through our introduction, and after going through our introduction, then later on, he will go through your table of the contents. And after going through your table of the contents, then he will go through your conclusion. Whatever kinds of objectives were there in your mind and how you are successful to reach towards your conclusion. Okay, so he will try to also understand what exactly you have written in your conclusion. So these are the three hints, okay, for that evaluator to understand. So that's why whenever you are going to work on any one of the projects, okay, so while working on any one of the project, it is very important part of our book report or important part of our project that our chapter scheme should be very clear. It should not be too lengthy, and we want to just add the major chapters in our book report. And related with the major chapters of our book report, if we also want to add some kinds of subheadings in our book report, so we are also permitted to add the sub chapters also in our book report. Okay, like the 1.1, chapter number 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. These are all the various kinds of sections which here we are going to add in our book report. Okay, so we want to take care about all these small and very important kind of things in our book report. So that's why this kind of table of content, it is going to provide to the reader the overall idea about our report, what exactly we have written in our book report, what are the important points, what are the important main headings and the subheadings in our book report. And whenever we found that if our book report is long and if it is a very complex kind of book report, so at that time it is expected that we are going to add some kinds of tables and the list of illustrations. For example, those students who are in the first standard, in the second standard. So have we thought for some time that why in their here, why here in their book, the various kinds of pictures are given to them. Various kinds of pictures are given to them because in their pictures we found that the basic purpose is that here these students they are able to understand the content in their book. Okay, so that's why here the various kinds of images, various kinds of colorful pictures which are given in all the books. Okay, so this was the purpose here. So that's why whenever we are going to design, whenever we are going to prepare one kind of book report. So while preparing a book report, it is our very major work that here we want to take care about that. Here we have added the all the tables and the list of illustrations. For example, if you want to show how the population of the India is increasing, okay, from the from the year 2015 to 2020, okay. So to show that, we can show here any one of the graph picture, and through that graph picture, we are going to show the list of illustration and the list of tables in our book report. Okay, so that's why we want to take care about our table of the contents. And as we know that whenever we are also going to add the table of the contents in our book report. So at the right side, it is expected that we want to write the page number. Okay, if you are chapter number first in your introduction, and that is the one kind of introductory part of our book report. So it is expected that we want to exactly write the page number, whether that chapter is going to start on page number first, or whether that chapter is going to start on page number 4, or if your chapter number conclude chapter number 5th conclusion, that is going to start on which paper, on which page number. So here it is mandatory to add the page number. Okay, so at the right side. So that kind of adding the page number is going to helpful to you for the reader who is going to go through your book report. Okay, so then the next point was that the list of illustrations. So to convey our ideas in a very proper way to our reader, whenever we are going to write our book report, or whenever we are going to work on any one of the important cases. So while working on any one of the important cases, to convey our information in a very systematic way. Okay, so what exactly we can do? We can use the various kinds of tables, we can use the various kinds of graphs, various kinds of figures to convey our information in a very systematic way to our readers. Okay, so whenever, and again here it is very important that whenever we are going to add the list of illustrations in our book report, and whenever our list of illustrations are more than 10, okay, more than 10, if we are using some graphs, tables, figures, charts in our book report, and if these graphs and the charts which are more than 10, okay, so then at that time it is expected that we want to add the list of illustrations in our thesis, in our book report. For example, if you are working on any one of the projects on the agricultural field, so while working on any one of the project, here it is expected that you want to show the various kinds of pictures of the plant. Okay, how the plants were growing in the first month. Okay, at the beginning when you have planted your plant. So how was the situation of that plant? And after 1 month, you want to take the another picture, and after also the 3 months, after the 6 months, after the 1 year. So to show that a development of that exact particular kind of tree or particular kind of plant, so we can use the various kinds of pictures. Okay, we can use the various kinds of figures also, various kinds of graphs. Okay, it is related with our topic, and these illustrations which are also changing from scene to scene. Okay, so that's why the list of illustrations which are going to play a very significant role. in our book report. So that's why these kinds of list of illustrations which are also trying to helpful to us to bring one kind of clarity to create a one kind of clear cut picture about your topic in the mind of reader, and it is also trying to bring the quality of the precision in our book report. So that's why it is a very important point whenever we are going to write a one kind of book report. So while writing a book report, we are going to add the list of illustrations. Okay. So like the list of illustrations, then how and why the main body of our book report is very important. And as I have also given you the one example in our previous lecture that if we have the car and if in our car there is no driver, so is there any what kind of importance to our car? No importance. So like this, whenever we are going to write our book report, in our book report, the front matter of our book report is also very important. And with addition of this front matter of our book report, here in the main body of our book report, here our real thesis starts. The writing of our real thesis, it will start here. The writing of our real project is going to start here in the main body of our book report. So that's why, especially in the main body of our book report, the introduction is considered as one of the important parts. Okay, whenever we are reading any one of the novel in Marathi or in any one of the English language, Tamil language, any one of the Hindi. So while reading that novel here, the writer he is exactly taking care that how he is trying to create an effective kind of beginning of his novel. So like this, whenever we are going to do the beginning of our book report in our main body of our book report, so the first point will be considered as the introduction. Okay, from your first sentence of our book report, it should be clear to your reader what exactly you are going to say in your book report. Okay, so whether you are trying to define them, if you are writing about what is meant by internet, so in your introductory part, your first sentence should begin with to define the term what is meant by internet to them. Okay, what is the importance of the agricultural field in the development of nation if it is your project. So first of all, your sentence will be like that. India, it is considered as the land of farmers. Okay, in India there are 75% people, their livelihood is depend on the farm. Okay, so like this, you want to first of all do the good kind of introduction. Okay, so that kind of introduction is going to play a very significant role. Then you want to write about the information about who have contributed, especially in the agricultural field. Okay, Dr. Panjabrao Deshmukh. Okay, so those who have contributed, so you want to write their names and whatever kinds of various kinds of revolutions that are happened. Okay, green revolution, it is considered as one of the important kind of revolution that is exactly happened in the agricultural sector. Okay, Neel Kranti in Marathi, various kinds of krantis were also happened. So you may be able to write all this background information in your introductory part whenever we are going to write exactly the introductory part of our book report or the introductory part of our thesis. Okay, what is their own contribution? Okay, so this is the way to do the introduction. And our introduction also should be like that. It can convey to our reader the clear-cut idea about our book report. So whenever we are going to write the introductory part of our book report, so in our introductory part, first of all, we may be able to write the definition about our concept or any one of the fact or any one of the reality or any one of the significant sentence that is going to explain the central idea of our book report. So that sentence should come in our first paragraph of our book report that we want to take care. It is very important and it is a mandatory kind of work that we want to understand here and why it is also very important to us. So that should define to our reader why we are doing our report, why we are doing our project, what is the purpose. So that purpose should be clear to our reader from our introductory part of our book report. Okay. So whenever we are going to write, as I said earlier, that whenever we want to write the chapter number first in our book report. So while writing the chapter number first in our book report, first of all, it is very important to us that we want to convey our title in a very systematic way to our reader. Okay. Then we also want to write about the objective of our book report, why we are writing the book report. So that objective we also want to write. After writing the objective of our book report, we want to add one kind of hypothesis. So as I said earlier, hypothesis is nothing but it is a one kind of considered kind of statement, and this kind of considered kind of statement is going to helpful to you to reach towards your conclusion. Okay, so that is going to be very helpful to you. So this is the one kind of considered statement. Okay, you are considering any one of the statement related with your agricultural field or related with your food technology. So whatever kind of considered statement that you have in your mind, so that kind of considered statement is nothing but it is considered as a one kind of hypothesis. Okay, in Marathi we can call it as a grahit कृत्य. तर जे काही ग्रहित कृत्य आहेत ते जे मी कन्सिडर केलेले स्टेटमेंट आहेत की जे तुम्हाला तुमच्या कन्क्लुजन पर्यंत जाण्यासाठी तुम्हाला ते मदत करणार आहे. ओके, and this kind of this kind of hypothesis is also going to be very helpful to you. Okay, the next will be we want to know about our research design. Research design means how many chapters that are there, these chapters which we are going to exactly add in our book report. So that is considered as a one kind of design of our book report or the design of our research. How many major chapters are there, or what are the important points that we are going to convey in our book report. Okay, so the objective, hypothesis, research design. Okay, after the research design, what are the researchers review? Okay, what is the importance of your topic? Okay, so you are also going to write about the importance of about your book report. So these are all the points it is expected that you want to write in your book report whenever you are working on any of the project. It can be a project of your post graduation, project of graduation level, or any kind of project. So that's why chapter number first for the introductory part, it is considered as the major part of any one of the book report. Okay, so that's why we may be able to define the aims, objective, scope, and limitations of our book report. And at the same time, it is also expected that we may be able to write the intention of our book report. Okay, why we have written, what was the objective, and what is the conclusion that you want to reach here. So the same thing can we also want to apply whenever we are also going to write the one kind of abstract of any one of the research paper. Okay, so whenever you are also going to write any one kind of research paper, so first of all, here the publishers, they are demanding from you the abstract. Okay, once they have gone through your abstract, then later on they will call you for the last kind of synopsis of your book report, or the last kind of synopsis of our any one of the article or any one of the research paper. Okay, so that's why introduction is also considered as one of the important part of any one of the book report or any one of the thesis or any one of the research paper. Okay, so that's why writing the introductory part of our thesis is considered as one of the important parts. Okay, here all clear-cut picture should be created in the mind of the reader, in the mind of the examiner, in the mind of the evaluator who is going to read your thesis, who is going to read your book report. Then very interesting point related with our thesis writing, that is considered as the method. Okay, that is considered as a methodology. Okay, So the method is nothing but it is one of the systematic way of doing the research. It is one of the systematic way of doing on any one of the project. So whenever we are going to work on any one of the projects, it is expected that we are going to we are going to use the complete kind of methodology. And as we know that these kinds of methodologies which are going to change from stream to stream. Okay, if you are in the field of agricultural field, maybe you want to do one kind of field work. If you are belonging also from the marketing field, you also want to do one kind of field work. Okay, so various kinds of methods are there. If you are doing your research in the science, then you want to do the various kinds of experimentation. You want to do the various kinds of practicals. If someone is here who wants to do the research in the science in coming future, so they are going to use the experimental method. And if someone is there who is belonging from the art field, he also wants to add the various kinds of methods. Okay, like through the questionnaire. Okay, while conducting the various kinds of interviews. So the methodology is very important. Which method we are going to select for our thesis writing. So these methods are changing from, as I said you earlier, these methods are changing from stream to stream. So before doing the research, first of all, it is expected that we want to read some of the books that are related with the research methodology, in which what is meant by research, what are the qualities of the research, what are the various kinds of steps of the research whenever we want to do one kind of research, what are the various kinds of steps are there, what is the one kind of importance of the research. Okay, so this is the one kind of science, systematic and a scientific study that we want to keep it in mind. Okay, so the which method we are using. Okay, American Association of India, they have written the books on research methodology. MLA handbook is also one book is there. So like this various kinds of books are there for the various kinds of streams. And in all these kinds of books here, what kind of exact kind of methodology that we are going to use. Okay, so this methodology is very important and you are going to follow the same kind of methodology that is suggested to you by your supervisor. Okay, this kind of methodology which is suggested to you by your guide whenever you are going to work on any one of the thesis or whenever you are going to work on any one of the project. Okay, so there are also the various kinds of government projects are there. So if you want to get all these projects in your coming future, various kinds of schemes are also there in the agricultural field. And if you want to get all these kinds of schemes, then you want to first of all do the systematic study about the research, about the methodology, about how to write the thesis writing. Okay, so that's why in our syllabus of the technical writing and the communication skills, this portion is given to you. So this is the basic agenda. This is the basic purpose why this content or why these points are provided to you in your syllabus. Okay, so the methodology is considered as one of the important point. Okay, whenever we are going to write on any one of the projects. Okay, so whenever we want to work on any one of the projects, so as I said earlier, that first of all we want to form the group. After forming the group, so the next term will be you want to decide the topic. And whenever you are going to decide the topic for any one of the projects, so while deciding the topic, we want to see the level of our knowledge, and later on we want to see what is our area of interest and what are the skills we have and whatever kind of reading we have done, and according to all these things, here exactly we are going to decide the topic for our thesis writing, for our book report. And once we have decided our topic, then next term will be here we are trying to collect the information from the various kinds of sources which are available to us. Okay, it can be the source from any one of the library whenever we want to do the any one kind of work. So here we are using some kinds of primary text. Okay, primary sources of the information, and at the same time, we are also using the secondary sources of our information. Okay, so the question can become in your mind, what are the primary sources? So the primary sources are nothing but whatever kinds of original text that we are using. That is considered as a primary source of information. Okay, if Sandeep is there and Sandeep has written any one of the book related with the plants, so that book which is written by the Sandeep, it will be considered as the primary book. And after reading the Sandeep book, if Rakesh has gone through that book and he has understood that book, and again he has written the book, so that book will be considered as a secondary source of information. So like this, whenever we want to work on any one of the thesis, whenever we want to work on any one of the project, so while working on any one of the project, we are going to collect the information from the library. Okay, it can be the primary source of the information, it can be the secondary source of information. We can also collect the various kinds of research papers, various kinds of articles from the reputed papers, journals who have the good kind of impact factor. Okay, so we are also getting the information from the internet surfing. So that is our Google Baba. We can call it as a Google Baba because we are getting everything, whatever we need, it is available on the internet. Okay. Okay. Then we can also conduct the interviews of expertise. We have the sufficient knowledge. Okay. So whenever we are going to conduct the interview of any one of the expertise, first of all, we want to prepare the questionnaire. You want to write a one kind of email or one kind of letter to the expertise. Then we want to take the permission. When we will get the permission, we will decide the time and the place where we are going to meet to them. And what is for how many minutes you are also going to conduct the interview of that expertise. Okay, so you can conduct the interview of that person lively, or at the same time, if that person or if that expert who is living too much away from our place, then we can also conduct the telephone interview also. Okay, if that expert is living too much away from our place, so we can conduct the telephone interview, and we can also conduct the lively interview of that person to get the information. Okay, so we are watching the various kinds of interviews. Okay, so on the YouTube also. So through these interviews, what exactly they are trying to do? They are trying to gather the information. Okay, they are trying to collect the information related with the particular topic. Okay, and as I said you earlier that you also want to do the one kind of field work. You also want to do the survey. Okay, what is the contribution of the agricultural field? So that kind of agricultural field survey will be done here by the government officials. They are doing the survey and they are trying to know in which sector how many percentage contribution is there. Okay, so like this, these are all the various kinds of methods that we are going to use, whether through the interviews, through the surveys, through the formal and the informal discussion. Okay, so through the formal discussion, we are also getting the information. Okay, so whenever we want to say about the formal, so related with the formal discussion, it is expected that we want to follow some kinds of rules and regulations. And on the contrary, related with the informal, we are not following any kinds of rules and regulations to collect the information. Okay, so that's why the formal and the informal both discussions are very important to us to gather the information related with any one of the point related with any one of the topic. Okay, then we are also trying to get the information related with the print and non-print media. Okay, we know that This is the world of information and technology. This is the world of science. And in this world of the science, too much information is which is available to us in the print as well as non-print media, in the form of printed and the forms of non-printed media. So we can also utilize, we can also collect that kind of information for our benefit. Okay. Then, as I said you earlier, interview method. This is also one of the methods to collect the information. Okay. To collect the information from anyone of the expertise who is belonging from the industrial field or who is belonging from the agricultural field. Okay. So we can conduct the interview of that expertise. Then we can also prepare the questionnaire to get the information. Okay, if you are working on any one of the problem, can be the any one of the problem in the agricultural field, why you are not able to sell your product, okay, towards your customer. What are the problems that you are facing? Okay, what are the various kinds of problems here the farmers are facing? And if you are doing your research, so what exactly you can do? You can prepare the list of questionnaire. You can go and give your visit to the various kinds of farms. Okay, you can go and give a visit to the various kinds of villages where you can distribute your questionnaire to the various kinds of farmers, and you can collect the information from them. एखादं सोयाबीनचं पीक आहे तर शेतामध्ये ते कोणत्या काळामध्ये त्या सोयाबीनचं पीक त्या ठिकाणी त्यांनी घेतलं पाहिजे. ते पीक घेताना तुमचं जे पोषक वातावरण आहे ते कोणत्या कालावधीमध्ये असते, त्याच्यासाठी लागणारी वेगवेगळी जी औषधे आहेत ती कोणकोणती वेगवेगळी औषधी आहेत. So we can collect all this information from our the questionnaire which we have prepared. ठीक आहे, तर आपल्याकडे जे काही क्वेश्चनरी आहे, so with the use of that kind of questionnaire, we are going to collect the information. Okay, so this kind of collecting information is also considered as one of the important method of communication. It is considered as one of the important method of collecting also the information whenever we want to work on any one of the project. And what is very important whenever we want to select our methodology. So our methodology, it depends on our topic, whatever kinds of topics we have selected. So our methodology, it should be appropriate. It should be suitable to our project, the project which we have selected. And whenever we are going to work on any one of the projects, okay, so whenever we are going to select the methodology for our report, so while selecting the methodology, it changes from our title, whatever kind of title we have selected, and whatever kind of methodology here our guide is guiding to us. So the same method that we are going to use while working on any one of the projects. So it is very important part which we cannot neglect, and very important the point that we can say here, selection of our problem. Selection of our problem is very important, and related with our problem, we are going to decide our methodology. So is it clear to you, whatever we are discussing here? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now can I move ahead? Okay. So now the very important part of our book report, which is also included in our main part of our thesis writing, that is considered as the description analysis. Okay. Once we have decided our topic, okay, once we have gathered the information, once we have decided our methodology, then it is considered as the main part of our book report, how we are trying to analyze our discussion, how we are trying to convey our information to our reader or to our evaluator who is going to do the evaluation of our book report. So that is considered as the description analysis. Okay, so it is considered as the main part of our thesis writing. Here, how you are conveying your arguments, how you are conveying your statements very firmly in a systematic and in a very good way. Okay, in a systematic and in a very good way. So it is going to play a very significant role. So whenever we are going to organize the structure of our book report, so it is the main discussion. It is the main. Here we are trying to elaborate our point, elaborate our all chapters in a very systematic and in a very proper way. So that's why description analysis is considered as the main part of our book report, in which we are trying to organize our data in a very systematic way. And whenever we are going to write this kind of information in our book report, so what we have found, what is our own contribution, okay, in that research or in that project on which we are working. Okay, what are our new innovative ideas that we have added here? So all these ideas which should come in this part of our book report. So that is called as a description analysis. And it should present, it should reflect one kind of fact and the finding, what we found here. Okay, before working on any one of the projects, first of all, there were various kinds of objectives in our mind. Okay, so they related with our objective, what we found here. Okay, so these findings will be included in our this description analysis. So in short, this description analysis of our book report is nothing but in which we are going to add how we have successful in our objective to reach towards our objective, and how we are also trying to discuss the problem, and we are also how here we are also trying to find out the solution through our each statement, through our each sentence in our book report, with the use of various kinds of illustrations, with the various kinds of diagrams, with various kinds of pictures. Okay, so how you are firmly and how in a very innovative way you are trying to write this part of your book report. So the real success of your book report, it depends on your description analysis. And the same thing can be also very useful to you whenever you are going to defend the viva. Same thing can be very useful to you whenever you are going to give the presentation related with your book report. Okay, so that's why description analysis is considered as one of the important kind of part of our book report. Okay, so related with this also, we have also the sections, and at the same time we have the subsections, we have the headings and the subheadings that we can add in our book report. So as I said you earlier that in our table of the content, so we are going to add here our chapters and the sub chapters also in our book report. So okay, so sections, subsections, headings, main headings. So these are considered as important parts of our book report. Okay, so that's why description analysis is considered as one of the important part of our thesis writing. Then we have the next point in our book report. So that kind of next part is nothing but which is included in the main part of our book report. That is the conclusion. Are you able to see the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that okay. Thank you for your quick reply. So that part is nothing but the conclusion. Okay, when we can reach towards our conclusion, we are going to reach towards our conclusion whenever the clear-cut objective is clear in our mind, and when we are working on it, so then we are going to reach towards our conclusion. So the conclusion is nothing but it is considered as the important part in the main part of our thesis writing, and that is trying to convey to us what we found here. Okay, what is the solution related with the problem which we have selected for our thesis writing or for our book report. Okay, so we are going to convey the significance of it. Okay, then what are the observations of the writer and how you have presented your judgment, means here your judgment means whatever kinds of outcome that you are trying to get here, whatever kind of conclusion that you have reached here, or what are your own findings are there. Okay, what are your own findings are there, or what kind of conclusion that you have reached here. So the all information will come here in your conclusion part of our book report. So always keep it in mind that whenever you are going to write the conclusion of your book report, conclusion of your thesis writing, so this part should not be too lengthy. It should be only within 3 to 4 pages, not more than, because it is our conclusion. Okay, so our main part should be chapter number 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in our thesis writing in our book report. So whenever we want to work on our thesis, so the major focus should be on our chapter number 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, or chapter number 1st and last. Okay, so we want to also decide the how within how many pages we are going to write. It also changes from topic to topic. So we want to decide, we want to think about it with our guide, with our supervisor. Okay, then we have the back matter of our book report. So that kind of back matter of our book report, which we can call here as the references and the bibliography. So these references are nothing but these are the various kinds of list of illustrations that we have used here. Okay, so related with the references, first of all, we want to understand what is meant by bibliography. So bibliography is nothing but it is a one kind of list of books. Okay, that kind of list of books which we are using. Okay, so whenever we want to work on any one of the projects, so while working any one of the projects, whenever we are using some kinds of original text, primary sources, secondary sources, and if we are adding the references of authors in our book report to convey our idea, to convey our points. Okay, so then we want to add the list of references separately, the list of bibliography separately in our book report. Okay, we can add the references after writing our each chapter. After writing the chapter number first, you can write your references. After writing the second chapter, you can also write your references. Okay, this is one of the way of writing the references. Or if you don't want to write this, after writing all your 5 chapters, at the end you can also write the references. It depends on your guide. and it depends on your methodology which you are going to select for your thesis writing, for your book report. So with the consult of our guide, we can, it is expected that we can write our references. Okay. So as I said you earlier, when we want to write the references, so while writing our references, we are using the various kinds of books, journals. Okay. And whenever we are also using the books, journals, so it is expected that we want to make their separate list. And whenever we are going to make the list of the books, it should come in an alphabetical way. Okay. And in that book, we want to write all the details. Okay. For example, here I have written one example. This is one of the book, aspects of the novel. This is the name of the book. First of all, the surname is given about that author, then comma, then initial, then the place of publication, the name of the publisher, and when that book is published, and the page number where we found that reference and from which book we have collected that reference. Okay, so this is the way of writing the reference. And whenever we are also using, or whenever we are also using the names of some of the authentic websites in our thesis writing, in our book report, so that is also considered as a bibliography. We want to make the separate section for the bibliography. Okay, that in which we are trying to write whatever kinds of authentic websites, as I am saying, authentic websites which we are using, okay, to collect the information. Okay, so we can write that list of the authentic websites here. Okay, so that will come in the back matter of our book report. And we have the also the last element, that is considered as the index. So as we found that whenever we are reading any one of the reputed book, in that reputed book, at the end of the book, we found the index. So that index is given to us whenever we have the difficult kinds of concepts, some difficult kinds of terms are there. So to convey these terms here, to convey these concepts terms here, the writer is trying to put all these concepts, all these terms in a very systematic way, and all the things which are going to come at the in our index. So the index is nothing but it is a one kind of an alphabetical kind of list of the topics which we are going to write at the back part of our book report, and with the page number also, on which page number we have added that concept, is whether it is a what is meant by organic, if you are defined that term, so on which page number that term you will find out in that book report. So that page number should be also mentioned. So this is one of the, this can be also very easiest way for the reader who is going to go through your topic to clarify your book report. And when we are going to add the index in our book report, whenever our book report is complicated, when our book report is hard, and whenever our book report is long, to understand our reader. So this is considered as the index of our book report. This is all for our today's lecture, and now we will also discuss about which point you didn't get it. So now we will continue our discussion. Just give me 2 minutes.